Hi there, everybody. This is Pilgrim, or a bit more formally James, since this is a bit more formal, because this is a video for the developers of Torchlight 3. Um, and I would like to um, provide some feedback and some advice that hopefully you'll take into consideration going forward. Um, so this is just kind of effectively the things that I feel the game needs. Not just um, definitely stuff that I want. Everything on here I want, but also a lot of the things I feel are um, wanted by the wider community as well. And yeah, let's just get into it. So um, the first load of stuff. I mean, this is probably going to be one of many videos, and this basically took me about 20 minutes to come up with and whatnot. So it only has like a railmaster here, but when I start playing the other classes, um, and I start to see really weird things with said classes, I'll make a new video on it. For the moment, let's just look at the general stuff. So rings and amulets. Yeah, they're just completely missing. Um, these can provide a lot of utility, and it like a lot of the things that are currently available on every single gear, like every single gear piece is the same. Um, like everything can have like basic attack rate or basic attack damage, relic cooldown, relic damage, defenses, weapon types, chance to stun, shock, etc. But as far as I can see, like every single piece of gear can get the same amount of stuff. Um, and what I think you need to do is um, certainly by implementing things like rings and amulets, um, you can dedicate certain affixes to like chest pieces and boots and gloves. Okay, so if you were to actually put like just relic cooldown, like relic sort of stuff, skill stuff, onto rings and amulets, you could say pull it from the boots and you could get move speed. Or you could get attack speed on gloves and like really big um, health and defenses on a chest piece more than any other item. Stuff like that. Um, and currently, because you are kind of restricted in the amount of pieces that you can equip, um, the game has naturally had to like cram all of these things into every single piece. Um, but as a result, they do not feel unique in the slightest. Um, and yeah, adding rings and amulets is a good first step into doing that. Second, I know this is changing, but I don't know the specifics yet. But Lifebound should be at around a 5% drop rate at the most, and it should be pretty much dedicated to um, end game bosses, um, like end of end of end of act bosses, stuff like that, map works, that sort of thing. They should definitely not be dropping from regular monsters. I kind of feel like Lifebound should be used to push a character to play into really high end game. Okay, if you had no life gear stuff, Lifebound stuff, and you like you were max level 60, and you had all level 60 gear, but it wasn't Lifebound, you shouldn't be able to do like the highest end game stuff. Like that 50% increase should matter. And as a result, if you fail, that should matter as well. at the moment, there is no purpose to Lifebound in any significant way during the campaign. It only is there to effectively frustrate you. And this is definitely something that almost everybody has talked about, which is why you were very quick to say, yes, you're going to change it. But hopefully, it won't just be that you'll be adding scrolls. So again, that's something that you said you were going to add. So scrolls for both adding and removing Lifebound, which should naturally also add or remove the actual effect of Lifebound, not just the fact that it can be destroyed. Okay, so at the moment I believe Lifebound is 50% extra stats. If you were to unlifebound it, those stats should be removed. And that allows you to still get like a significant gear upgrade without having to fear that you're going to lose it. The next thing is relics. So far we have 5, and it's a good start, just 1 for every element. But it can definitely be improved upon. I think I noticed somewhere, I think it was on one of your recent streams, that you are doing more relics. Like one of them is a summoning one, so that's really good. A dedicated summoning one. Although, 1 second, I've actually kind of thought of another one, and that is that pet damage should include minions. So this was the way it was in Torchlight 1 and 2. And for whatever reason, I'm told that pets, like the definition of pets no longer means everything that you control. It just means your starting pet or whatever you change that to. And it doesn't affect any of your minions. So it doesn't affect your ghost army, it doesn't affect your spiderling dudes, it doesn't affect your netherlings. And this is really, really bad. You need a way to scale minions en masse, otherwise they would fall off very quickly, in my opinion. And so, yeah, like the relic, the summoner relic is going to be fun, but it's going to be largely useless if you can't figure out a way of adding damage to it. Like, there are ways of just adding percent-based damage of an element in the game already. Okay, you can have like 10% increased lightning damage, and that affects everything, including your relic and everything that does lightning damage in your skill tree. Okay, but if you can't get the same thing for minions, then minions are always going to be behind the curve. Okay, so pet and minion damage should be combined. Next thing is 1 more skill tree for every class. Like, I have told people that there is a fair amount of customization already with the relic system and the legendarium, but it is the whole point of a skill tree, or skill trees in general, is to make that class unique versus others. Okay, if you are always using a third tree that any class can have, yes, it's customizable, but no, it isn't unique. And that's bad. Okay, you need a third skill tree. Now, the UI is set up to have, I believe, like an extra 3 tabs. So I don't know if they're planned for other things either, but at the very least, one of those tabs needs to be an extra skill tree. Okay, they need to be more unique. Next, I believe there should be at least 6 classes. Not necessarily more than that, unless you want to do it as extra downloadable content or something. Like expansions, but I believe the base game should improve upon existing ones. You had 3 in Torchlight 1, you had 4 in Torchlight 2, and so, like, possibly 5 in this one, but I would definitely like to see 6. Um, and um, yeah, hopefully you can do that. Then we've got more bosses in Mapworks at the moment. I think it's like, is it 2? So we have 2 maps, both of them fire. It's not good enough. So, especially when you consider the fact that certainly currently, end game, the furthest we can get in early access is in a poison area. And if we're fighting fire bosses and we're getting fire gear from them, you see how that's a problem, I'm sure. Okay, there needs to be more bosses. I don't understand why there isn't any bosses from Act 2 in here. And also, I don't understand why there would have to be like massive bosses either. Like, why can't we just get all of the bosses from every zone appearing in Mapworks with like improved power, maybe some extra abilities? Yeah, there needs to be far more variation. Currently, the fact that there is 2, I can't think of a third one, but I know at least that there is 2 and it's not enough. The next thing is making sure that we have full maps in Mapworks. At the moment, it's just a boss fight. What is, like, I don't quite understand that. It should be a full map with a boss at the end, okay? With varying effects that change everything inside, okay? So maybe everything has additional fire damage, or everything has an increased chance to crit. You know, you need to have like some really wacky and strong things in there to make them worth doing. At the moment, literally the only reason to use Mapworks is to level up. Now this won't be a problem when we get to Act 3 and we get to Endgame where we can actually properly go to 60, but it does kind of show you currently that the only reason people are doing them are to level. Because actually, like, even things like legendaries, okay, unless you wanted to get a high level legendary to actually use on your character, it is way better to actually farm places like the Havid City, the Havid capital I think it's called, with the Havid set to get legendaries, to get those legendary affixes. Okay, and so the only reason to use Mapworks is to level. And then once we don't need to do that, nobody will care to use them. Okay, but if you give them full maps, you basically had um, all of the map bosses. Um, you know, it's going to make it much more exciting. Next, all zones should level with you. In addition to being bigger, that was one of the best things, in my opinion, about Torchlight 2 compared to other games, and that is that you weren't afraid to do big maps. Like Act 2 is a really good example. Huge maps for Act 2, and I really enjoyed it. Multiple things to do, multiple dungeons to go in as I was progressing the campaign. It made it unique versus other games. They need to be bigger, and they need to level with you. Now, I mentioned this in Discord, and one of the responses from the developers was that what happens if you lose your gear? Well, first off, if you are changing Lifebound to be an insanely small percentage, like it should be, then that should not be a problem already. But if it is still not good enough, then why don't we get 3 normal weapons and armor that levels with you, either baked into the character, like as in if you took off all of your extra gear, and you added on your normal, and yeah, if you took off all of the extra gear, you should have like a normal set of a weapon and an armor, so that you are not left without anything should a lifebound item get destroyed. Um, yeah, alternatively, obviously, just provide it from a vendor. But the thing is, and this is the next one on the list, is provide weapon, armor, and jewelry vendors. Okay, you probably don't want to see 3 items in there along with everything else, which is why I say that you should probably just bake it into the character. Okay, there's nothing saying that these normal weapons and armor have to be in any way near the power of a rare or magic item or whatever. Okay, so you can probably tone down normal items, but you shouldn't be left with nothing. And that again will actually fix that problem of zone to level for you. Okay, if you are going for a campaign, you should be able to go back to an area and farm that zone. Okay, it should be like you already have a method to tone down your weapons and armor to be like that of, so that you don't absolutely wreck those monsters. So like if I went on ridiculous and went into the first zone, currently I have just as much of a chance of dying there as I do at a much higher leveled area. But I don't get any extra rewards and I don't get any XP. It doesn't make sense. You've kind of gone halfway, but you haven't finished. So either take the halfway, which please don't do that, but just default it to leveling with you. Okay, moving on. More sets and more legendary items. I think that's pretty simple. Currently, what we have is just, I believe, 7 sets. And I don't even know if we can get one of those sets at all, which is the auto, oh, how do you really say? The robot one, essentially. Okay. Um, yeah, so there's one for every class, and then there's 3 ones based on the levels. So there's a fire one, which is a woods beast or world's beast. You've then got the skittering set, which is the poison one, and then you've got the arc one, which, yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting if people have actually farmed. Um, there's there's 2 zones in the game that have those robots in, but I don't know if anybody's actually farmed them to check if you can get those legendaries there, or if you've set them to be um, act specific, so you can only get like the Hazard in Act 2, and you can only get the Woods Beast in Act 1. Because yeah, it's something that needs addressing certainly, or at least a confirmation in Discord that you can at least farm those areas to get it. But yeah, just more legendary stuff. Again, I watched one of your latest Twitch streams, and I think you mentioned that there was a community legendary, something to do with alpacas, and you would summon like spirit alpacas that did Holy Bolt and stuff like that. Super cool, great, awesome, but let's get some more. Like this is a game that, you know, the Legendarium is a big deal, and currently there's about 105 legendary pieces, with a fair few pieces. So I want to say yeah, 6, 12, 24. There's at least 24 that are class specific, just for armor. And then there's probably about 6 weapons for each one as well, so another 24. So 48 out of those 105 are class specific ones, which kind of like limits the pool quite a bit currently. So I would like to see at least a tripling of non-specific uniques, so legendaries. More pets and abilities and pet abilities. So pets, you know, there's a fair few amount of pets. That's good. I'd like to see some more, um, like non-winged variants. I can't remember how many exactly, but it feels like there's more winged variants than not. Could be wrong. But more specifically, pet abilities. So pet abilities are really, really cool. Although I think that the restriction on auras should be removed. Like, unless you are going to try and significantly update the AI, all of the like damaging ones, the attack ones, are basically pointless because it attacks so infrequently. The AI is so bad currently for pets, that unless you significantly improve it, a lot of those abilities are kind of pointless and aren't usable. So just making it into an aura bot if someone wants to do that. Um, yeah, I think that should be something to consider. Next is a Fallout a Legendarium at level 60. If you get to level 60, that's a big investment, and more importantly, it just makes the game fun. Okay, I mean, we've seen I've seen a couple of your Twitch streams now, and when people say they've found something really broken, one of the first things that I hear from the devs is that they'll tone it down. I don't understand this. Okay, so one of the hugest criticisms of Frontiers was that it took freaking ages to kill anything, and combat was just boring. Okay, and you remedied this by making it far more flashy, far more spammable, and, you know, able to actually kill mobs of creatures very fast. Okay, more stuff happening, more crazy ass things going off at once is more fun. It is more engaging, and you need more of it. So, having a fourth legendarium, yes, it's going to make the character much more powerful, but it's going to make every single character much more powerful. It's going to make it much more enjoyable. You're giving them the hero fantasy, okay, the action hero fantasy of just destroying everything on screen, and it gives you more build variety. Like at the moment, I would like to um, do certain builds, like an auto attack build at the moment, but I'm afraid to say that an auto attack build at the moment requires kind of almost certainly 3 slots in a legendarium to make work, um, and currently we're only on 2. So I've tried my best to do a basic attack character, um, but it's just not working out because I need more slots in the Legendarium to make that happen. So more slots means more build diversity, and it just makes it more fun. Okay, stop thinking about nerfing everything and start about giving, just giving options. Okay, like the whole point of nerfing, like what I don't understand. Like it is not a competitive game. It will never be a competitive game. Okay, so when you say something is overpowered, all that means at the moment is just compared to something else, it's very strong. So why would you take that down if clearly those people are having way more fun? Why not simply give more fun to the other players? Um, okay, next one is have set bonuses from legendary items work within the legendarium only for themselves. Okay, so this is not something. This may actually work. I don't know. Fact is, nobody I think has gotten to level 40 or at least shown off the legendarium at level 40. Um, like the highest I've seen someone I believe is 38. Um, and basically, yeah, at the moment, we don't know for certain if this is even implemented. But if it's not, it needs to be. Okay. And so what I mean by this is that they should not affect the set that you're currently wearing. Okay. So if you have like um, two pieces of musketeer on your gear for your gear, okay, and you have one musketeer for another piece in your legendarium, they should not combine the set bonuses. I understand that. That makes perfect sense. But if you are going to dedicate all three, or hopefully four, slots to a single set, okay, you are losing out on all of the crazy other stuff from all of the other legendariums. Okay, so you are basically forcing yourself down to one particular um, set of stuff. Okay, and if you want to dedicate yourself to doing that, you should. Okay, you should, like, again, it's about fun. It would simply make it more fun, more enjoyable. Okay, now the last piece of this video is going to be some railmaster things. So railmaster is currently a bit of a shit show. We all know it, you know it, because you've said it. We don't know what you plan to do, but this is probably the biggest thing that I would do. Okay, and that is having an always on train. Make the carts passive instead of relying on putting them on the skill bar. Okay, at the moment, if you have um, a mortar and you have a shotgun, okay, and the only way to get them is if you put them in your skill bar, and you basically have to rely on that active skill to make them do anything. Why? Okay, my suggestion would be, as I said, to have a always on rail cart. Make that the unique thing for that character. He always has a train. Okay. You've already got this on gear. Like you've got stat bonuses that say plus damage or plus attack speed if you're near a train. Okay. So if you've got that, but you don't have a train, then that's just a completely dead stat for the railmaster, and that's bad, obviously. Okay, so have it always on. Always have a train. Okay, and when you put a point into a skill, okay, um, it should um, basically always add to the cart. So at the moment, your cart system is a bit weird. Okay, when you first put it down, you have three carts, or the train and the two carts, sorry. But the two carts don't have anything on. It's just pointless. So if you like, we have all of these cards. So again, we're talking about making it fun. Okay, so don't restrict like mortar and flame turret. Okay, just add the card. Okay, when you first do it, it should be a single train, and then for every point you put into the other ones, it should just add a cart with that thing on. And they should all be passive. Okay, one of the biggest things about the train, one of the biggest criticisms was damage. It just didn't do any damage compared to anything else. The damage for the railmaster was low overall, but for the rail cart specifically. Okay, so having, what is it, the first train, then you've got mortar, then you've got flame turret, then you've got the shield, and then you've got the shotgun. Okay, so a big long train. Okay, just following you about. Okay, and if you want to give the passive, not passive, sorry, the active, then put it in your skill bar. Okay. Um, in addition, so like my another suggestion to go along with this, with the always on train, is just having another dedicated key similar to E for your relic. So probably Q or W or something like that. That is basically stop and start, or allowing you to click on um, the end rail to say stop. Um, so that hopefully that could be implemented easily enough. And that would solve a whole lot of problems. You probably wouldn't even need to increase any of the percentages. The fact that you can get an extra 2 damaging carts would probably make up for the damage shortfall, and it would just be a lot of things going off. Very big, very flashy, yeah, each one doing their own thing. Again, just fun, enjoyable, quirky. Um, Another thing I would like to see implemented on the railmaster, because I don't think that the charge system is very intuitive. Okay, I think, and I'm not even sure about this, but I think the way it currently works is that you do an ability once, and that will give you a certain amount of bars over time. And then anytime you have a charge user, it just takes all of them. That means that you're dedicating yourself to a single skill, or it's a massive cluster fuck. Like, you can't juggle skills because every single one of them is is almost certainly going to be underpowered unless you're really, really attentive for a particular skill that you want to use the extra oomph on. And that isn't fun. You know, you having to always pay attention isn't fun. Um, so yeah, what I would like to see is instead a passive generating charge, okay, and then for abilities to use a certain amount of charges instead of all of them, okay. So blasting charge, maybe it would use 2, okay, or mortar would use 1. You know, flame turret would use 3. You know, you get the idea. And that allows you to spam them. And again, spam is fun in this instance because it's just more stuff happening on screen. Okay, and it means you don't have to feel like you're losing out whenever you're juggling multiple skills. And you don't have to pay attention as much. It's just like, hey, I probably know I'm going to have a charge. I'll do this ability. But you don't have to wait the entire charge cycle to do it again. It just doesn't feel good. So yeah, that's all I've got to say at the moment. There will probably be other videos for the other classes, for class specific stuff, maybe some more things in general. I thank you for watching, and for everybody else, if you're not a developer and you like the video, you want to get it you want to give it attention because you think it's a good idea, please upvote and comment and say that yes, all of this sounds great, and possibly hear some extra stuff that you hadn't thought about. Okay, so that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for watching.